Hits and Crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
What's up, Hits and Crits family? Welcome to our next faction deep dive on Season 7, and I'm more than happy. Normally, you would expect Larks to be here, but he takes a personal break for a little bit. So today, we have the Mance Raider of our community, the rattle shirt of stats, right? I mean, hunting stats trophies here and there, wherever he can, but today he's here with us. So great to have you, Mickey, aka Masarath.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's nice to be back. Nice to see Season 7 actually arrive. And I'm hoping we have a good chat today about it, because it's certainly fun.
Exactly. So like, you have, like, obviously one of the most experience in playing Free Folk. Before we like jump into all the deep dives, the details of the cards, what is your like overall top level thing on Free Folk in Season 7, except the Giants?
Yeah. So I think Free Folk can be probably not worrying too much about the patch. And what I mean by that is some of the stuff didn't really change, so you know that's going to be relatively reliable, and it's going to be decent, and you can go towards some of the builds we talk about. They're not particularly new, but they're still good. I think that's fine. There are definitely a lot of toys that you can now play, and we'll talk through, like, there's just so many kind of wacky, cool, like, if I'm honest right now, I think Free Folk are a little bit like the Joker faction, like, if you want to have a bit of a meme and you want to do something a bit silly, there's a lot in Free Folk that does silly things. So I think Free Folk players on the whole can be fairly happy with the changes, more accessible to have fun and laugh with, while also still being competitively viable. And yeah, just generally pretty happy days.
Cool. Awesome. So, what we prepared for you today is, let's go to the faction overview, or the agenda for today. So, we will talk about the impact on the faction and the list building from these changes, how they reshape your decision making when build changes. We brought the 2 lists you should bring in our mind. We also talk about countering other factions. Is there stuff you need to worry about? Is there stuff you need to be aware of? This is covered. And lastly, Mickey brought a secret combo, a meme thing, a peculiar or like just straight up funny synergy he was thinking about. So that's how we send you on the road with this deep dive. All right, so let's go into the elephant in the room. So we will kick things off with one of the topics that was probably the most discussed one in the last week. Was the Giants. So the Giants, just little recap: up to 8 wounds, not rolling defense dice, only 1 wound on failing panic tests, and then with certain, wound a little different than mag. Savage Giant became basically the other way around. So now he's like straight up good from the beginning, not needing those wounds. Giant Spear Thrower just went up 8 wounds. I don't know if that was needed, but well, I give it to you, Mickey. How do you feel about the Giants in Season 7?
I think if you're a Free Folk player, you're pretty happy about these.
Yes.
I'm a little bit apprehensive overall. I think where I sit right now, I'm a little bit worried actually that the Savage Giants with the crit blow keyword, as well as obviously Vicious and the extra dice and things, I actually think that Savage Giants might be the best giant. Yes, defensively a bit easier to kill. So you've got to be a bit riskier there, I think. But with those eight wounds, very hard to kill them quickly. And those extra dice, no defense dice with Vicious and Crit Blow, these guys do pack a real punch. And they actually, if you assume on a full health unit, you're talking like 6 or 7 dice probably. then they're running the same dice as 1/1 anyway, and crit blow will normally generate 1 extra damage or 1 extra hit. Realistically, you can kind of count on that. So you're probably doing the same amount of damage as 1/1's doing on the charge anyway, and you come with vicious, which 1/1 doesn't have. Obviously 1/1 has a lot more of that defensive stuff. He heals himself. He
That's
is
big.
harder to kill with the 3-up armor, 4 morale. I mean, it's crazy. Weakening people. Like 1/1, I think looks really tasty. But I think the giant, the just normal bog standard Bob the Savage Giant, is it's pretty good. I was surprised that they went defensively upgrading Mag, moving him to the 3+3+. I think that's kind of risky, I would say. I think that he was already kind of fine. And generally speaking, like, Mag's weakness was always getting killed in range attacks, right? Because then you didn't get that Chieftain's Fury attack. If Mag's being killed in melee, you're okay with that, kind of. Like, that's kind of the point of him. But without crit blow and purely just relying on those 8 dice, his kind of average is only marginally better than the other giants, and his like low swing can be pretty bad. His also explosiveness, it doesn't really exist. So Mag is this kind of weird thing where I think you want to kind of lead the front with Mag if you're running Mag Commander. He doesn't quite synergize with his cards and stuff, but like you kind of want him just to throw him into the combat, get him killed, and have your other giants and things in support who are going to benefit from Mag dying. You know, I'm thinking using Last of Their Kind when on Mag's death, doing a Chieftain's Fury attack, killing something or hurting something, for a Savage Giant to come in with Last of Their Kind on the charge. I think it's really cool. I think the Giants are really cool. I think they're more fun to play potentially, rather than this kind of like, I don't really do anything, then you hurt me, and now I do something.
Yes.
Because I think that's, you know, especially on 6 wounds, I think a lot of players were playing the mag lists fine, but if a giant just kind of got charged, especially with things with auto wounds, and it died, it kind of felt, well, it's rubbish. And then other stuff with like shield wall and things is like, cool, I'll just let a giant hit me all day, I don't care. Like, you know, and that for other players can be, you know, it's that's not a great feeling to have things that don't feel very good. But obviously giants were strong. You know, with my negative here is like, I do think giants might be a bit too strong here. 8 wounds and the 1 maximum panic test. Like, are you reasonably doing 8 hits through armor 3 or armor 4, of course? Are you reasonably doing 8 hits with a lot of things? Probably not, at least not historically. So you're probably not taking 4 wounds off a giant on a charge. And if you're not taking 4 wounds off, then opening swords and doing another 4 wounds is going to be hard. So giants might not be reasonably killable in like 2 normal attacks from what we normally see in the game. That's okay. It means you might have to throw the kitchen sink at them to kill them, and that thematically makes sense. But as we know, like if it's really, really hard or borderline impossible to kill something in 2 attacks, especially with the bags, heal, and everything else that you can potentially do, suddenly things, they go from being like kind of tanky and maybe reliable to being like actually really hard to kill. So maybe these are really, really hard to kill, and maybe that's okay. You know, maybe that is okay. I've played a few games on the new patch, and there's a lot of things rolling a lot of dice. So, so maybe these giants are not too bad. You know?
Yeah, exactly. We will jump into. I hear a lot of stuff like veterans with watch marshal, sword masters with the officer. You know, right. Exactly. So I hear all of that, but we will. That's for another day. So, do you like 2 questions on the giants then? Do you feel what could help get the feeling off that they are too good right now? Because obviously we are doing a free-fall video, and the people watching want these good things, right? They want to like win games and stuff. But that fuels my last question. So would they be reasonable or more balanced if they would keep the 6 wounds, or do you feel they just need to? The Savage Giant just needs to lose the crit blow, or what is it? What would be your take? Because the Hits and Crits team said If those giants would still be 6, they feel it would be way better for the game than 8.
So I think it's actually okay to have giants at 8 wounds, especially now that I've played a few games on season 7. I've played when I say played a few games, I played like Free Folk, I've played Baratheon, I've played Martell. I've played a mix of factions already on the patch. There is some explosiveness right now. We saw that crit blow on the giants. We saw crit blow kind of appear a lot elsewhere in the patch.
Yeah.
And the game does. I say it feels more killy. I don't know if I believe that statement. I think it just feels a little bit more like things sometimes can explode. So I think for me, crit blow is like it's like a theme of the patch almost. And it feels like it might be necessary, but arguably you would make the giants going to 8 wounds be the buff that they will probably be suitable with. So I'm thinking actually mostly it's like you've kept the savage giant at 6 wounds but given them crit blow, or you just make giants 8 wounds and just don't add crit blow. Like I will actually say one of my kind of mild concerns here is 1-1 going to 9 points, which, you know, I'm not against that entirely. But then 1-1, like, he basically lost his war cry, which, yeah, maybe wasn't very good. And he has this healing thing, and he has this, like, extra attack die for missing wounds, etc. But without crit blow and without vicious, 1-1 actually feels a bit pillow-fisted compared to a lot of the other stuff. So 1-1, again, he doesn't feel amazing, ironically. He's very hard to kill, you know, and he does command some level of attention. But a savage giant and a 1-1 stood next to each other. I think you're more scared of the giant than you are 1-1.
Yeah, I feel as well. Yeah, feel it.
And 1-1's 2 more points. So, you know, it's difficult. It's really difficult. I would have liked maybe, and this is perhaps where I thought maybe keep the savage giant and the giant spear thrower at 6 wounds. Maybe you make 1-1 and mag 8. They're character giants. Make their characters more important. The effects wise, they'll be quite similar. I mean, mag is very similar to giants in a lot of ways. He just gets to do this free death attack, right? Why don't we just make the character giants truly characters by making them a bit tankier, make them the people that they are, but the normal giants, maybe they're a bit easier to kill, you know. I don't know. I don't know where I would do it. I don't know where I would put it all, but I do think like having all of it at one time feels like a lot. Maybe the giant rule needs to change. Maybe the crit blow needs to go away. I will say I'm a bit. One thing I was disappointed with. If you saw the scorpions change in Night's Watch, I was really disappointed the giant spear thrower kept this like infinite range thing.
Yes,
I don't like that. I think that's a bit silly in the game. It's not something I enjoy doing. It's not something I enjoy playing with or against.
Yeah.
And we saw that removed elsewhere. I was kind of a bit gutted about that, but I still think the giant spear throwers are fine. They're very, very good potentially. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I would do to change it. It's a difficult one. Having played the game a little bit, it's really difficult.
Okay.
I think 8 wounds is too many.
Okay.
6 might be too little. All
right. So for monsters, my last question on the monsters will happen when we talk about the list we brought. But now let's go to the NCUs a little quickly, just to wrap everything up. So we also seen some changes on the NCUs. Do they make a difference in using those NCUs way more than before?
I think Steer will see some play in monsters. I think the problem is Sundering with it being in a base deck, and there's we have Cave Dweller Savages, we have Tormund decks, etc. We have ways of getting Sundering in Free Folk that we're not that bothered about the Sundering keyword too much. And the +1 attack die or +1 rank is like neither here nor there really. I'm not that fussed by it. And especially the actual sad point is this doesn't work. It says infantry or cavalry, obviously doesn't really work on the bears now either, because they already have Sundering and they already have save attack die on both right? So like Steer doesn't really work on the cavalry apart from one, and the one cavalry works on. We can argue about whether they're good or not. But it's like he doesn't really have a place on those things. So you are completely right. You probably want to use him with monsters. And he's like okay with the monsters. I'm not sold. You know what I thought about, and this is kind of what I would posit to you, is you've got a grit influence that gives you +1 move and ignoring terrain.
Mm-hmm.
If you take an average of your charges and think about, would you rather just have +1 move and ignore rough, which effectively is +2 move, or would you rather being able to re-roll your charge, knowing that it's going to be a harder charge, but the enemy will become weakened? I actually think a grit is just a little bit more reliable.
Yeah.
How many times has a Targ player rolled a 1 into a 1 on like a Drogo charge, right? Like, yeah,
Too
it's
often.
fine. I've got unstoppable advance. Oh no. So I think it's the right idea with steer, but I don't know if I would play it more necessarily. Which I think it's not really a shame. I just need to play a bit more of the patch in season 7 to find out where steer will sit. But yeah.
Yeah, when I played monster lists, like the old mag lists, I always brought Mance, I always brought Val is a must, and Egrid actually as well. So Egrid is so he's not beating them. So what about Dala? How do you feel about Dala?
I think that was great. So I think Dala was good before. Like, I say good before. The weakened on crowns is actually really useful in Free Folk because we don't have a way of giving weakened tokens out, which is why steer is actually a little bit interesting as well. But specifically weakened tokens at range. You know, ranged attacks are a bane
anywhere.
for Free Folk.
Yeah.
You know, we hate ranged attacks, right? We don't have any ranged attacks that matter. Ignore spear throwers. Lady Dala giving out that ranged weakened token was actually huge. It wasn't tied to the unit that you crown zapped as well, so you could crown zap a unit over there but weaken that sort of thing. How cool is that? I think it was great. It's like your own Shay. The bags not removing the token but doing hits was usable. The letters kind of don't draw cards and instead do this thing was meh. I think discarding a choice of one of 2 random cards from your opponent's deck is like, people have to think about this much more than they do, which is this ability is terrible in terms of value, because the way to think about this is the card you discarded, you might as well pretend was the bottom card of their deck. And if they didn't play all 20 cards in their game, then it didn't matter that you discarded the card that was at the bottom because they never would have played it anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, you can get some really good hits. You know, taking out an assault orders. You know, take out an auto pass panic. Yeah, brilliant, fantastic. You know, whatever. But like, you've got to kind of, before you do that, think the value of this is not amazing. When you were denying your own letters draw. Now that you just get to do it while also getting to draw your own cards and put a condition token out, like, if you just pretend she didn't have the letters ability and it was the crowns and the bags, I think she'd be playable. So now she just does an extra thing when you take letters.
Yeah.
And I'm not really paying for that effect, really.
Yeah.
So like, fine. It's not a good effect. It's not an amazing effect. But it's fine.
It's just a bonus. Just a bonus.
Yeah.
So basically, she is valid in certain lists. What we will see later.
I think maybe, you know, we talk the Free Folk NCU roster is quite like problematic. We know Val, you know, stupid statistic like 98% of lists or something silly. That slot is just you can't take Val out of that slot. And you know, we saw Mance and John and Craster being really popular. So Dala is competing with a really stacked NCU roster in my view.
Yeah.
But I think she is certainly in the conversation of being that third NCU in certain lists. Yeah.
All right, so that's on the NCUs. Now we come to a topic where we actually, because we didn't have that much lead time of the chat. I mean, we had some, but it wasn't enough to talk enough about the Shore Hunters. So the Shore Hunters, is that just a meme, or is that high IQ tactical play? What is it? What's your take? to pull people
I
around.
call everything a meme. I call everything that I enjoy a bit of a meme when you can
Okay.
do cool things with it. I think this is cool. I don't know if it's actually very good. But like for anybody watching, everybody's gonna do it. And if you're a free folk player, please for the love of God do this. It's gonna be brilliant.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have an enemy unit that's maybe charge blocked on some stakes, or is like hiding behind some stakes with a ranged unit, and you're gonna run your frozen shore hunters over, and you're gonna harpoon them, you're gonna shift back, you're gonna pull them onto the stakes, and your enemy's gonna take damage, and you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna be like, ha! Get wrecked. Who cares if this is actually good?
Actually
if
good,
you pull
yeah,
that
yeah.
off once in a whole tournament, if you pull that off once, it was worth it.
It was worth it, yeah.
There's also some really big memes which we'll go on later on with this, which I think you can do, which is incredibly silly. This ability is like this ability is my nightmare, to be honest, Chris. The reason I say this is community FAQ stuff.
Yeah,
FAQ
stuff. FAQ stuff.
This is going to be an absolute goddamn nightmare.
Yes.
There's so many interactions this will play with.
Yeah.
But I'm happy it exists.
That's a good take. I will take that, and we'll think about my next free folk. I will just include it. All right. So before we jump into the 2 lists you should bring now in season 7, let's have like a hover over the unit changes. The main question would be, does a pick rate of these 4 go way up over the extent of, let me try this once, twice, 3 times? Is there something in there where you say this needs to be in way more lists now because it's just straight up better or good than before?
So whistle stop tour through these 4. I think chariots probably go up in play rate. You know, the disappearance of Tywin and Varys increasing in his points cost means that the things that are naturally good against solos with low wounds are kind of gone. Chariots going down to 4 points from 5 and having some pretty glow ups on that attack.
That's great.
Profile, as you see. Yeah, these will see more play, 100%. Frozen Shore Bear Riders, I don't think they'll see much play rate change. I actually worry if they might go down. Because without that combo, no charging volley. Like, this is just a 7 dice with cool keyword type effects. It synergizes a little bit less with the Frozen Shore commander in the Great Walrus. So like, yeah, I think they're fine. I think they're fine. I just worry they'll probably go down in quality. I think you'll see this in Rattle Shirtless, for example, or other things. Still, they'll still see play, you know. But I worry a bit. The War Mammoth, I mean, the War Mammoth is a bit of a meme with it hurts itself with its own failed panic test. I worry that people will play the Mammoths and they'll go, oh, that was really fun or really cool. And then they'll kill themselves because they failed a panic check and then did D3 wounds to themselves when they failed a panic check. And people will very quickly move away from Mammoths. Mammoths have been a real problem since they got released, you know, when they were problematic. You know, they really were problematic when they got released. They got changed, they made better, then they kind of sat in this mid-ground. I don't really know. I think Michael Schnell's kind of playing with this unit a bit. He's seeing what works and what doesn't work. I think this is not far. If he didn't hurt himself, I think this would see play. But at the moment, with him hurting himself on his own failed panic check, I think he probably won't see as much play. Not as the season wears on. Early, people will try. Later, people won't.
Yeah, so Vanguard. A unit sitting on the shelf for quite some time. How to use it? Do I use it? Do I need it? Is it needed in the free folk now? Or is it also just a tech piece?
I ran them once on the table, which meant I did unbox them. And I've actually got one sat on my painting desk over there because I went to an event where I needed to paint a knight, like a guy on horseback. I ended up doing a converted mammoth, a converted giant with a hobby horse instead, right? I have seen the models once, and I put them back. And that model I have been looking at on my painting desk, completely unchanged. I haven't even spray painted it, like, you know, primed him or anything. I probably should get them primed at least. I'll start going through the process of painting this guy up. I still don't think these are amazing. It's really hard on rate to beat things like Raiders and a lot of our other cheap units. But with TAC Repo in Bill, and you get this planned approach thing, which I do think has value into certain matchups, I can see Harma's Vanguard seeing the table more than through the entirety of season 6 across everyone that's played on stats. They were played 37 times. They will see more play than 37 plays in a year. That is literally 3 times a month they were getting played.
Yeah.
I think I might play them more than that, at least in 1 month.
Okay.
We'll see. They're still not amazing, but I do think this is obviously better. You know, and this is playable. And I think, you know, as a mammoth or giant delivery package where you can say, right, you can't rising temperatures mag, or you can't rising temperatures my bear riders, or you can't rising temperatures my mammoth, or whatever it might be, or subjugation my units, like this could be pretty good.
All right. That's on the units. So now let's jump to your or to the 2 lists that you should bring in season 7. There are obviously more, but this is our take on the 2 lists you should consider. So let's start with the Giants, and I straight up come back to my question I had on the Giants. So we talked about this, you know, 8 wounds, they might be too strong, and you can maybe finish it off with what we already, like, you teased a little bit why there is no wound in there. But the question actually I have is, now I take these 2 lists and I go to a tournament. What is it that I really need to be aware of when playing Giants? What is the stuff I need to be afraid of? What do I need to take really, right? What is really important on the other side where I say, oh, that might change me picking the Giants? Go back to what I know. Go back to Varamir. Go back to, you know, the stuff we do as free folk. What is it?
I think, like, I mean, the obvious one to go through straight away is precision. If your enemy's got a lot of precision units in one of their lists, you know, something like the new Thorn Watch or other things like that, they obviously that could be a danger. Because your opponent might just roll hot 6s and there you go, you got stabbed in the head. So there is that. I generally think, though, obviously you've got auto wound mechanics now. Thank the Lord that Great John Umber doesn't just kill half of his unit to do a million wounds to you, because that would be pretty sad. But even just like Expert Duelist or Gregor, Commander, that is, or the Robert Strong.
That's the Robert Strong.
I think those kinds of things you obviously have to be wary of. So anything that's looking at auto wounds, I actually think there is also a chance that some stuff with things like Stubborn Tenacity, if you end up playing into like maybe like something in R'hllor Stannis, or maybe some Stubborn Tenacity in like Eddard style list to go down fighting. Those little things as well, you probably want to have a little look and check for in your opponent's list, because those things could just be the 1 or 2 wounds to push over enough damage to kill these things a little bit easier. I think that's primarily what I'm looking at. Another one is movement. You know, we rely on out activation and ultimately Lady Val. Our engagement range is relatively short compared to a lot of cavalry style lists. So you've got to be wary of those maneuvering lists, like maybe Benjin Cav, or if we see like a cavalry army come out of like Brynden Stark or Drogo, obviously. So yeah, I think you've got to be careful of all those styles still. But yeah, I don't think there's anything you're looking at thinking, oh, I'm really scared about X, Y, or Z. It's just watching out for these abilities more or less. But yeah.
Okay.
It's one thing I would say about the Giant list as well, and the list we presented here. Chris put me under a bit of pressure to say, you know, give me a list. What you think? This is very similar to the list we saw in season 6, Giants. The reason the Spear Thrower is actually at the bottom is I hummed and hawed over, do I have a second Savage Giant or a second Spear Thrower? I actually just defaulted to a second Spear Thrower based on the old mag list. And the reason I put this old mag list, this runs the Wolf Pack, not the Shadowcat, and Mance 4, not Mance 5. I opted for this because we knew this list was completely serviceable in Season 6. So my question to you now is, and it seems odd to say this, but from a bit of a competitive view, you knew it was good. Could you take this list and still do okay with it in Season 7? Because if it actually isn't doing okay in Season 7, then maybe the game's changing a little bit and maybe we need to think about this. Or this list is doing perfectly good in Season 7, which means the changes have either given it enough health to stay alive, or it's given enough aggressive output to kill things, or it's just overall buffed it to a point where it's happy in the game. It's a litmus test, right? We've had Season 6, we know it's okay. Let's run it in Season 7. Does it feel better or worse? If it feels worse, okay, back to the drawing board. Let's do something different. If it feels better, then, ooh, maybe Giants are a bit good. It's a bit of a tester. For me, I want to run this to see how it feels with the changes. Then once I understand what the changes feel like, then I'll probably come back to the board a bit and build a variation that might be better in Season 7. And I think that's reasonable, by the way. When there's a seasonal shift, a lot of people want to try a lot of new things. And trust me, I want to try a lot of new things too.
Yeah.
But if I put my competitive head on for a moment and say, look, how do I actually want to build and craft these very strong, powerful lists? I did it with Mance back in 2021, into Varamir and all of that stuff over the many years that I've been doing this. And sometimes just having a litmus test of how did an existing list now feel gives you way more information as to how you can then better transform the list in a new patch. So that to me is that giant list all the way through. Varamir though, I mean, it's Varamir, isn't it?
It's a Varamir list. Yeah.
I stuck in some fun stuff. There is actually a unit in here that I think is probably a liability, but I was like, sod it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give my boys a try, which is the Follows a Bone. I was a little bit disappointed that the Follows a Bone didn't see something.
Yes.
But I also don't know what I would give them. That's the problem. They just probably are, in the grand schemes, they're probably just our weakest 5-point unit. Thens are pretty good. Spearwives, I think, are actually great. Cave Dwellers are great. Frozen Shore Hunters were probably pretty bad, but I mean, now they're memes. That if they have meme status, who cares if they're good or bad because they're memes. So I think the Follows a Bone may be weak. You could replace that with Thens. I'd probably think that might even be a better list. But I thought I'd give the Follows a Bone a try. Frozen Shore Hunters with Spearwife Matriarch and Harma Bannerman. I'm going to get charged. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to pull you over somewhere. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Who cares if this is good or not? This is just fun to try. Harma Spearwives is, in my view, is one of my favourite things to do in the game, is Sentinel into a position where you get to combo someone in the flank and blow them out of the water. And Baroque Raiders, which I think is becoming... I think Baroque Raiders is starting to become, for Free Folk, similar to Lady Val. It's like, what do you do when you build a Free Folk list? Well, you put Baroque Raiders in, and you put Lady Val, and then you put the Boar. Big Pig OP, as we know. Big Pig OP. Always has been. Even when he doesn't do any wounds. If Big Pig... This is a message to anyone watching playing Free Folk. If your Big Pig dies first, he's doing his job, Big Pig OP. If Big Pig charges in and does 3 wounds with all 3 of his melee attack dice, Big Pig OP. If Big Pig charges in and does 0 wounds with his attack, doesn't heal, and dies to Final Strike or to flashback damage from Counter Strike,
he
or
also did his
Big
work.
Pig's still OP.
Yes.
Big Pig can do no wrong.
Yeah, and also saying on token dying and still scoring from in Honed and Ready and stuff, all that stuff, right? It's like
I think that I could put Big Pig at the corner of the board away from Baroque, meaning he dies the moment the game starts in round 1. I still think he is the best thing in the world. He's just awesome. Who doesn't like Big Pig?
Yeah.
Also, I will say this. I love the Big Pig model. It's one of the few ones I really did a lot of painting. And I really love the model for Big Pig.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
All right.
I just said Big Pig like a million times.
That we don't care. It's fine. It's fine because it is a straight up good unit to bring. So we put some units here where you need to be, well, I don't want to say afraid of, but where you need to think about, right? And here we're specifically talking about the Rainbow Kingsguard, Lightbringers, the Skirmisher rule, and also the doubling of NCUs of Jackin 3 times a game. So
yeah,
hit me.
So
this is
Kingsguard Rainbow Guard thing.
Yeah.
Right. This unit is going to roll, 7 dice at you on 2s. It's not going to miss. You got charge rerolls. It's going to have keywords. That's like not really a problem per se, or that might explode things, but like that's not really a problem in and of its own right. The problem is that that's 16 wounds. Now, yes, it doesn't have resilience. We can kill this. 16 wounds is not unreasonable. But it's gonna probably take 3 or even 4 free folk attacks to kill this, because let's face it, we don't hit with hammers like everybody else. We've got we've got inflatable hammers and blow them up before the battle and just go boink, boink, boink.
Yeah.
16 wounds is a lot way to go through on 3+. I just think it's going to be hard for us to kill. And the worry is if we don't kill it, we take swords and we still don't kill it, and they're able to take bags and we still can't kill it, and then they're able to activate and spend a banner to heal and then kill us. We probably just invested a lot of time into not doing a huge amount while it kind of just started to blend us. Got to be careful of it. It's got to be dangerous. We may have tools to beat it, so I'm not really worried about it. But you have to give it the respect it deserves, I think.
I just played it 2 days ago, or 1 day ago, whatever. But I just played it, and I was really. I mean, I knew it from a I knew it was happening, but seeing it happening, these banners coming back as a Baratheon player, because you want the crown, you want the letters at a lot of moments, and you bring the NCUs to claim these, and banners just coming back, and I actually got hit by an outflanked Tullycalf. I wasn't expecting him outflanking the Tullycalf, but he did, and I'm like, okay, I need to adapt now. So I changed facing with the Rainbow Guard, and again, seeing that happen, that he comes in, and I was able to overconfident him. So take away his charge. So that was important. But again, still using these banners, just healing back. I'm still here, and whatever. I've just 1 left. I go to crown next, and I get it. I'm on 2 again. So seeing this happening, you need to respect this unit. It's so versatile and can do so much against you. Yeah.
Especially, obviously, the Rainbow Guard has Rally Cry, which is a bit annoying because we're really bad at doing lots of wounds.
Rose Knights and stuff also.
Yeah. And actually, Counter-Strike Disrupt on Kingsguard, when you're hitting on 4s, makes Free Folk pretty sad as well. We kill ourselves, so we've got to be careful. But yeah, Lightbringers. I am not going to say, look, there are 2 things that Free Folk hate. It's morale checks and it's long-ranged units. Having things that do both morale checks or panic checks and long range damage, and they get to heal off the back of it, and they do bonus wounds when you fail the panic check. This scares the living bejesus out of me. This is shooting a unit of raiders with 7 dice on 3s, potentially with rerolls. I might save 1 or 2. He's probably going to do like 4 to 5 wounds. I lost a rank. Now I fail a panic check because it's vicious, especially if it's raiders. I might be taking an additional 1 or 2 or 3 wounds, and all of a sudden it's like I just lost like 10 wounds to this attack. And like if this rolls well and I roll like dog shit, this can do 12 wounds. This can ease 7 dice, plus 3 from a failed panic, plus 1 from insignificant, plus 1 from Relaw's fire. You are dead in 1 shot. This scares the living bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
The one
not
saving
only
grace.
you, not only you.
Oh yeah.
And not even you as a Free Folk player. I think this is something that each and every opponent of Baratheon is, or Stannis' side is afraid right now. Yeah.
The one saving grace here is we've got to think about it. We've got to respect it, but big pig OP. So we're okay.
Yeah. All right. So skirmisher.
Yes. So I played Free Folk into some Thornwatch earlier today, and yeah, you got to respect it. Being able for the enemy to just turn to face wherever they want to go means that running around with like Varamir's pets sitting behind somebody doesn't matter because they just turn around and kill you. So you've really got to respect the skirmisher word, especially if you're playing with these like pets and mass activations, because those typically work by controlling like line of sight zones. And skirmisher just eliminates the need for having line of sight zones a lot of the time. So you've got to respect this. It is dangerous. It can be a bit of a problem. We have the tools to work around it, but it's really difficult. It's not just skirmisher, I should probably add as well. It also affects Walder NCU that gives that buff that allows you to pivot before your action as well. So, we've got to respect Ranger Hunters with that skirmisher rule, some skirmishers, Bloody Mama skirmishers, those kinds of things.
Yep.
Anything that's got a skirmisher keyword or, where that Walder goes down onto your enemy units, you've got to respect. It is not a massive issue, but you've got to respect. One last thing, the always removing charge bonuses, even when engaged, it just flat removes charge bonuses, is actually as well just a bit of a pain in the arse when you roll 4s to hit. It doesn't make a massive difference, and we have reroll generating effects, but it is a pain in the arse. So yeah, it's not broken. It's not a problem. It's just something we have to think about a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the Night's Watch video. I really like Ranger Hunters to get something because we all know they got the 4+ to hit at some point, and this put him a little bit on the sideline, put him a little bit on the bench for the Night's Watch players.
3.
And on the Sand Skirmishers, they got it. Now you need to play them a bit different. I mean, they're not as good as they were before, obviously. I think they still have a place, but as you say, Skirmisher is indeed a great great ability to have, and gives you the tools to go against something like Varamir, go against something like outflanking stuff, and all of that. Everything that takes up room or needs or wants to screw up your game plan, it's good to have. Walder as well. So talking neutral NCUs and NCUs, what about doubling NCU effects of Jackin?
Yeah, so I mean,
or specifically
the reason I mentioned Othel. The reason I mentioned
yeah.
Othel is that Free Folk already struggled a little bit with Othel. And I know a lot of I wasn't that phased by him overall. I played against a lot of Othel over the years. But I know a lot of like newer players to Free Folk, or certainly more casual players, and a lot of even like competitive players who were playing on the mid tables and things. Othel really just ruined a lot of Free Folk strategies. It was just like, I'm just going to get killed. He's going to just kill my units. I don't have the sustain. I'm just going to get killed. And then that puts people, like, mentally, it puts you behind. So you're like, oh, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. And then you proceed to make more mistakes, and, you end up losing the game. But not actually necessarily because of Othel, but because of the way you're thinking about the game.
Yeah, it's a mental thing as well. Yeah. He has a mental aspect.
He's also killing you.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's both. However, being able to copy NCUs, specifically here, Jackin with Othel, I think will throw a lot of Free Folk players completely out of balance. Like, how do I deal with Othel twice around for 3 rounds? I'm just going to get my units killed before the game really starts, and that does worry me a little bit. I kind of think this may be really good. Because there's actually very few defensive keywords that even work against Othel, right? Like we know Shield Wall doesn't work, and Harden does, but only kind of in the same way that Harden works against anything. There's very few things that really interact or stop Othel doing what he does. And then being able to copy that is going to be very scary. I think against specifically Night's Watch, running low armor units is gonna feel really bad.
Really bad, yeah.
And I worry about that. Perhaps the other ones I think about and I worry about, but like I think I have the tools for. This, I'm kind of sat there thinking, I don't know if I have the tools to beat this. I think I have to outplay the player. I don't know if I've got tools. Now, obviously in Free Folk, there is one answer.
Mm-hmm.
They're big, and they have critical blow,
Yeah.
and there's usually a small tribe of them. You run your giants.
Mm-hmm.
The offal does nothing to giants, basically.
Exactly.
This offal jacket doesn't work. But you know, that's the beauty of Free Folk and two-list format. But yeah, if you're playing like an infantry style, I think this is going to feel pretty hard. So you've got to respect it. It is easily enough of respect, which is where I go back to that competitive mindset to say that your list pair is probably giants with something else, because you might need giants.
Yeah, you
just
might
to
need this.
deal with this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So let's end it off with the big meme. One for the road, and obviously first word is harpoon. So guide the viewers through the big meme list or idea.
So first thing I want to say, Chris, is when I wrote this, because I sent you some notes.
Yeah.
When I wrote this, you said, "Oh, I'll make it look good" and everything else like that. I hadn't realized that meant you would quite literally pull the exact words that I put on my notes onto the slide. And the fact you have makes me so glad. So you see there, pull people around and make them look silly and bounce into the sunset. Yes. I don't even know if this is that, like, whatever, but you coordination tactics onto Spearwives, and you run Harma Commander or the Bannerman and the Spearwives, right? You don't actually need it in those. You shoot someone, which triggers both charging volley, and it triggers your harpoon ability. You resolve the charging volley first, you charge, you do some more damage, right? You then, because Harma Commander has hit and run, you then play hit and run and you retreat off in a random direction. Let's just say past the enemy line, just over there, right? And then you resolve the harpoon ability after all of that, and you pull them back. So you bounce behind them and then pull them back. And who cares if that's good? Like, it's just funny. And I think the way that harpoon is worded, which is why CFAQ is going to have to think, it's where you did the ranged attack that you pull them. So you might have this weird thing where you, in the front, you shift to the side, you charge, you attack, you charge, you bounce to the back, but then the harpoon shift is still to the side. So then you can kind of sit them between your Spearwives, which are now in their rear, and the harpoon unit that you copied from in the front. So you've now just got two ranged units with this melee unit that it can go, it gets to choose where it pivots, but what's it going to do? Face your Spearwives or face your harpoon guys? Like, who wins? No one wins. You're going to have your back to one of them. I think this is just funny. I can see other memes where this comes around as well. I don't think this is amazingly good, but I think if anyone pulls off some kind of absolutely incredible combo of these things, it will be the most amazing thing I've seen. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Give it a try.
Cool.
Yeah. The next one. So this is a rattle shirt list, but with a difference. So I called this the Lannister Golden Horde because Frozen Shore chariots had ranged attacks given to them for some
reason. Yeah.
I'm not going to say any more than that. They have range attacks now.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. This the idea of this list is to take Rattleshirt in your Bonel's Chosen with Harma's Bannerman, and you move them forward, and then you charge an enemy unit. And you don't care if you did any wounds. If you get the defensive card, play the defensive. You can play the Rattleshirt thing to not +1 armor and no vulnerables. Get that on them. The idea then is to get the raid leader in this random bunch of Free Folk raiders, or you might use the Walrus guy who gives Iron Resolve. You put you trade the Bannerman out and you put that in, right? And then you have 3 chariots. 3 chariots charging whatever Rattleshirt charged that's got intimidating presence, and with the raid leader, it has gang up. You can charge it and kill it that way, or you can just run around in circles with these chariots, shooting the range into the combat, procking intimidating presence. They also have prey on fear, so they're potentially healing, and you have Jon Snow to put on the unit to give them -1 and +1 morale, so you're not failing your panic checks. The enemy are, because you're in your flank and rear and they have intim, and you're healing up every time they do it. So you're just being a bit of a knob while you've got mounted archers running around and killing everyone, and Rattleshirt's just like, hey, is this good? I don't know. Might this be really fun?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it will be.
That was the goal, to present something really good. It was the goal just to try it, have fun with it, try to pull it off. Let's see if we can do trophies on stats for such things. That would be good. Well, if you can pull this off, you get a trophy.
Mad respect. This has got Mance Raider 2-point attachment in it, so you can just put that in something that you're really scared of, and then you can be like, cool. If you're ever really threatening Rattleshirt, I'll just switch you off that turn, and then I'll charge you instead. And as long as we're in combat and I'm not dead, I'm going to shoot you. So yeah. There's one more, obviously.
2 mammoths.
Yeah. Just put 2 mammoths in a list. Maybe with a bunch of infantry, maybe with a bunch of chariots. I don't really care. Just put 2 mammoths in a list. Send them forward, ideally together, but more than 2 inches apart so they don't kill each other. And you just charge at the enemy, and as you say, everyone dies.
Everyone will die.
Your mammoths will die, but the enemy will die. We will just see which happens first. You may or may not win, but who cares? Everyone's dead.
Great. All right, so that one was for the road. So Mickey, thanks for being here with us today. Was great seeing your expertise and all this experience over the last years to see that. If you want to see Mickey more and more often, please make sure to join Tourney Ground with way more deep dives on competitive final table kind of stuff things. And join his YouTube channel. I will link it down below. And Mickey, any last words before I say the final quote?
I will say one thing. I'll say one thing, which is I think Season 7, there's some things people are worried about in Season 7. I think Season 6 has given us a real breath. For those of you, I didn't like Season 5 into Season 6. I went quite quiet. I didn't do a lot. Wasn't for me. I didn't feel the game changed. I think the game has changed a lot. I've played a mix of different factions just today and found that I was running very different lists than what I was running before. There's interesting combos. There's interesting things to play. I think get out there, play the season, try some things out, see how it all fits, because this season might not be around for very long. So enjoy it. Enjoy what you've got. Play around with it. Just play other factions. Just get more models, play more factions, buy more things, buy just if you can. I'm not saying to don't spend your pension.
Don't overspend.
No, don't overspend. That's bad. But get the cool stuff that we've got. We know that stock is coming to a lot of places in the world. We know that distribution now with cmon is gonna get better. So get this stuff, play it, test it, enjoy it. And it could be that in 3 to 4 months' time, we see the commander cards and attachments change to freshen up the game on that side. And we're quite literally looking maybe 6 months from now, back end of this year, we're looking at a very completely different game. And I think that's exciting. So you've got right now to be excited, and you've got that coming hopefully really soon to also be excited by. And then we might get tactics, which you can get excited by, because they're cool new models and a load of stuff there. So
synergies and stuff, crossover things. I think
right now is the time to get back to playing, to really enjoy the game. And I know I played 3 games today, and I really enjoyed every single one of them.
Exactly. So, likewise. I'm also back on so many cool things, right? I was even like in season 6, end of season 6, I started playing neutrals all over again, because I just enjoy the tactics deck. Now in season 7, I brought the Rainbow Guard for the first time. I mean, I did it like once before, but I never really did it. So now I got the Rainbow Guard on the table. Now I got stuff on the table that I really like and just appreciate in terms of like miniatures or like theme or whatever it is, or just like painting, and put it on the battlefield. So exact. So best final words yet, Mickey. Nailed it. And I think now there's nothing more to say. Until we meet again, guys. Roll those crits.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.